What's up, motherfuckers? What's up, Price? What's up, Backwoods? Yeah, I know. Day late. I suck. Party yesterday was fucking crazy. What's up, Nutjob Renee? Motherfucker in his house. Let's see here. Let's get some shit here. Minimize this guy a little bit so I can actually see. Scoot this guy over here. There we go. Alright, guys. Let's see. So, yeah, it's Sunday, September 23rd, 2018. Figured, fuck it. Let's do some conspiracy shit. Let's talk about some blades. Let's kind of catch up some shit from yesterday. Just because, you know, I underestimated how busy I was going to be with the wife's housewarming party. So that really took a lot of my time. In fact, when the time for the normal stream was supposed to go down yesterday, I was knee deep in chicken. I was cooking a whole bunch of motherfucking chicken. And, yeah. And I had probably, by that point, little too much to drink, and had been recovering from a weird illness that has now kind of subsided. I still feel a little fatigued, a little tired, but I said, fuck it. Excuse me. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off to the side here. But I wanted to do a stream just because I felt fucking bad. I had a lot of people sending me messages and shit, and I just want to let the motherfuckers know, hey man, I will, if I typically miss a Saturday stream, 9 times out of 10, I follow up on a Sunday one, unless I'm like out of town or out of the country or whatever, and it's just impossible for me to do that. But for right now, I'm in the home base, so it's not a big deal. I can rock and roll. I released my first non-live stream video, finally getting back into the flow of things, and it was primarily an unboxing of 2 different knives. So we have the 20th anniversary edition of the Tom Brown Tracker 3. This one is a different higher end metal, and it's the smaller edition, so it's the version 3. That's why when I was doing the video, I was kind of like, yeah, this is a little smaller than I remembered the blade being, and I don't think my hand has grown that much, you know. And so hey, what's up, Stocking? My neck itches. Big blast! I am digging the aesthetics of the blade. I do like form factor. The handle's nice and beefy, so I get some good purchase on it. The jimping along the spine area is not overly aggressive. Doesn't hurt the thumb. So you can use it without a glove, and it's still going to be relatively comfortable in the hand. It is expensive. It is expensive. Yes, $400 with the sheath, but bear in mind, this is also a limited run. There's only going to be 500 of these made, and when they're done, they're done. So that adds a collectability aspect to it, which is something I've been talking with Tops about, Jesus, for at least 2 years. I've been trying to convince them to, you know, offer higher end collectability pieces for people like myself who don't mind spending that extra money to actually get something that not only is functional and cool, but also highly collectible, because that's part of what makes me get all giggy and stuff, is when I get my hands on something that's truly collectible. And really, when you stop and think about it from a collectability standpoint, as well as all of the different upgrades that makes this unique, this kind of takes away one of the equation pieces that you normally do when you get a knife. God, I have a fucking frog in my throat. Excuse me. So, one of the things that I typically do when I get a blade is usually upgrade the handles, change the handles, do something with that, and a lot of times I end up getting a different sheath, especially when Topps was having their nylon sheaths. You know, that was kind of crazy to me. Let's see, white trash, I would not mind. Get a skull cracker knife, the one that looks like an oversized tracker knife. Oh, the SXB. Yes, the SXB. It took me a second to realize which one you were referencing. That's what is that? Skull Crusher Extreme Blade SXB, and that one is very nice. And it does share some similarities as far as aesthetics, but it's different. It's different because I've used both, and SXB is a fucking beast. But getting back to this, you know, the sheath presents some very interesting options, and I'll show you what I did with mine. So I've already done a couple of, found a few things that I would kit up with this. So I don't have a fire rod that's this small. My fire rods are really fucking big, but you know, mounting a flashlight right on the side there, to ride on the, you know, right there at your hip, you just reach down, press the button, and it's front facing, and it's going to illuminate whatever is on the side there. You could actually turn this too if you wanted to, angle it a little bit more towards your leg, or not your leg. What am I trying to say here? Hang on. I think I just unscrewed it. There we go. So as it's dangling, it's shining in front of you, right? So as it sits on your hip, you can pivot this guy or whatever. You could pull it up and use it. It's small. It doesn't take a lot of weight. And then what I did is, no, it's not the new one. I want to get that new one. You're talking about the 1000 lume Olight. Let's get to chopping and skinning a pig. That's coming. That's actually coming pretty soon. As soon as my fence goes up in the backyard, then I'm basically good to go. So what I did is I threw my Leatherman Surge in here, and with all my little attachments and stuff like that, and it all fits in there relatively well. So that's what I ended up doing while I'm trying to find. I have a skinny flask, and I'm trying to find it because this will go up higher. So you have a little bit more clearance when you use this last little peg here. Boop. So it goes up that high. And I think that might be a cool thing to do as well. I was experimenting to see what I could fit in here. I was able to fit one of my old school iPods that I have. Yeah, I still have that. It's too thin for me to put like my phone in, obviously, because the phones are a lot bigger than this. But, you know, there's probably a lot of other things like a Altoid tin will fit in this. I just didn't have any Altoids laying around for me to use. I tried to put in things like, you know, my little mini USB keyboard, but it's too long. That one didn't work. So I was like, ah, crap, that would have been perfect for, you know, what I need to carry around with me from time to time. And then there was other things that were also just shy. Just shy, like the little portable printer that I have here was just a little too wide for it. So, you know, you are going to be limited from a certain point on what you can put inside of there. But that's one of the fun things about it. So, you know, when you look at the quality of the sheath, you look at the quality of the blade, it's not bad. It's not bad. So I'm thrilled about it. And yes, I will be testing with this blade. I don't make a habit of putting things up and away. I like to use them a little bit just to make sure that it doesn't have a bad heat treat. if that makes sense to you, because I don't want to get in a situation where, oh shit, I actually have to use this in a life or death situation, and then it fails at that point. You know? Yes, I have a lot of fun shit. I do have a lot of fun shit, but you know, at the same time, it's one of those things where, you know, you work hard, you play hard. So that's kind of how I live my life. It's like I spend a lot of time working, a lot of time doing different things. Oh, dude, I am so fucking bummed. What the fuck happened? I am so sad right now, guys. Shit. My third daughter, my adopted daughter, my daughter's best friend, her dad, real cool, on my birthday gave me these Venus flytraps, and I had them sitting. Wow, that's interesting. I was spraying it down and giving it little bits of water and stuff like that, and it was between these two monitors, and look at it. Look at them. I don't know if you're going to be able to see them. They're fucking dead. They died. They're like cooked. It's like somebody microwaved them. Holy shit, is there that much radiation coming off of these fucking screens that it fucking killed them? Oh shit, every time I zoom in, I lose sync. Hang on one second. I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to do this. There it is. Yes, it's back now. Fucking, I'm bummed out, man. I was wondering why these little fucking flies were not dying in here. These little teeny tiny flies. It's because my fucking fly traps are dead. Fuck. I'm bummed. That really fucking bums me out. God damn it. I thought it would be cool to have them sitting here so I could watch. But no. There's the word to the fucking wise. Don't put sensitive plants near these screens. Just imagine what it's doing to our fucking heads. Shit. That fucking blows. This is bullshit. God damn it. I'm really fucking bummed out right now. So I want to give a special shout out to Stevie G. He's going through some rough shit right now. And if you watch this, brother, just know. Thinking about you. I hope things work out. And we'll just go from there. All right, yeah, I know, the fucking cell phones. That's why I keep my cell phones, like, when I'm sleeping, this bitch is all the way here, like, far away from my fucking head. And then the other thing, too, is I used to have an earpiece in my head all the fucking time. You know what I mean? So now, when it's annoying, but I put the bitch on speakerphone. I'm one of them annoying fuckers be walking around with speakerphone because I don't want to put the shit on my head. I already fucking probably have prions in my brain and everything else from all the fucking beef I've eaten. The U.S. beef I've eaten since I was a kid. I probably have eaten more than a metric ton of fucking beef by this point in my life. So I'm pretty sure I've got some prions in my brain, and later on I'll be like, I got Swiss cheese in my brain. You know, and I was like, oh, you got Alzheimer's. No, I had fucking prions, you fuckers, because you gave us fucking cows eating other cows with mad cow disease and all this other shit. So I wanted to touch a little bit about a couple different things. I want to talk a little bit about different conspiracies that I want to do bits and pieces on. And then I want to relate that and talk about some of the shit that I see going on in the news right now. Before I get into that, though, I want to talk about, a lot of times before I do the show, I kind of scour the news and see what's going on in the world. And I saw a fucking piece where a father and son had an altercation with another husband and wife, or maybe husband and girlfriend, or husband and, dickbag. I don't know what the situation was. They were fighting over a fucking mattress in a shared alleyway. And it ended up escalating to the point where one guy's, he's sitting there with his pistol at his side, and his son's behind him with a shotty. And the dude's like, raise it up, motherfucker. I'm gonna fucking kill you guys. You're fucking dead. You're fucking dead. And I get it. You can get mad, you get your tempers flared up and everything else, but let's stop for a second and rewind the situation and see what was the genesis of this fucking problem. It came down to they dumped a mattress in the alleyway, a shared alleyway, and the motherfucker didn't like the fact that it was sitting in the fucking alleyway. And so laziness is part of the culprit here, because most of us live relatively close to a dump site, a junkyard, a garbage pile, or know of a location where you can dispose of large items for a relatively small amount of money. I know when I was moving and we were doing dump runs at the local junkyard, it was costing me about $20 with a 17-foot truck loaded to the fucking damn near capacity of the bed in the back. 20 fucking bucks. Now, granted, some places might be a little more expensive, but at the end of the day, if you can afford a pistol and you can afford a shotgun, you should be able to afford a goddamn dump run with a mattress. Really. So, first and foremost, being lazy. Second, not budging. There's a problem that a lot of people have where there's no conceding the ground. Okay, so now we're escalating the situation. You've got your pistol, and your son's sitting back behind with a shotgun, and those force multipliers also multiply another thing. A lot of times they can multiply bravery, bravado, stupidity, and arrogance. And then you've got the other side. Yeah, but even $50 per truckload. You know what I mean? $50 for a truckload is more than enough for a mattress and all this other stuff. Even if, this is where the other problem comes to play. So I see somebody's got a gun. Do I really want to escalate that situation and say, "You're dead, motherfucker. I'm going to fucking kill you. Roar, 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 roar. Bark, 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 bark." Okay? It's like, dude, they got two fucking guns in front of you. What you do is you say, "Oh, really? You're bringing a gun to an argument over a mattress." Okay, so obviously I'm scaring you enough. You feel the need to bring a gun. Okay. You know what? It's not worth it. It's not worth it over a fucking mattress to sit and talk shit and run the risk of somebody shooting me. And ultimately what happened was dipshit ended up getting shot. And here's his wife with her cell phone filming this shit. "You're not going to do anything. You're not going to do nothing." Well, bitch, they proved you wrong, because they did do something. And the funny thing is, what I couldn't see was I heard multiple gunshots. And I heard the shotgun, that was pretty apparent, but I heard pistol rounds. So I'm not sure if the husband tried to pop off some shots, and then they actually hit him. So I don't know the details, but regardless, both sides are stupid. Because they allowed a mattress, a discarded piece of shit, full-size mattress, what it looked like, to cause one person to die and two people to go to jail. So what was the ultimate cost there? Was it worth? Let's just say it was $50. It was $50. To go and dispose of that shit the proper way. That's the problem. That's the fucking, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Viking, part of me the pessimistic negative side of me is just like that. Darwin, bitches. Let's sit back and watch these fucking idiots do this while I eat some popcorn, right? But I'm also thinking, you know what? Regardless of how arrogant and pompous and stupid and irresponsible people are, they're still fellow human beings. And when we sit back and say, man, fuck all of them, then we're contributing to this decline of a moral society. You know, yeah, backwoods, going to prison for life over a shitty mattress. Right? It just don't make no goddamn sense. You know, there's so many ways that could have de-escalated that situation. Oh, I agree with that, Brooke. Some people, you really shouldn't have kids, you know. But on the flip side, I have seen some shitty parents pump out some brilliant kids. So sometimes it's not the case where, you know, two shitty people make a shitty kid. You do see that. And, you know, and the chance that a kid's going to turn out good after being raised by two shitty people is pretty small. There are those that, you know, what is that expression? The rose that grows in adversity is the most precious rose. So, but yeah, you're right. Some people just should not have fucking kids, period. Some people should not have guns, period, as is evident by this. You know, really shouldn't have went out and brought a fucking gun. I mean, it's just silly. You just can't fix stupid, and I won't fix their problems. Well, now, I'm not saying for people to get involved. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, you're right. As Forrest Gump used to say, stupid as the stupid does. You know, you go in and you try to fix something that doesn't want to get fixed, well, then you're just becoming stupid too. You're getting into that stupid situation. Viking, it's all about upbringing, empathy, compassion, understanding, and respect most of all. Exactly. You know, that last word's pivotal. Respect. You know, there is a utter lack of respect that people just won't show each other, and yet and still they will demand that they get that respect. They demand it. They haven't earned it. They don't extend it, but they expect it. And that's kind of one of the things that really drives me fucking nuts. You know, like, I will go out of my way to try to do the polite cultural things that help make things better. The pleases, the thank yous, the excuse me's. You know what I mean? And I just get real frustrated sometimes. Like, I'll go somewhere, I'm crossing the street, will stop everybody and look at the car that's coming, make eye contact, and wait until I see them do that. Even if there's a fucking stop sign there. Like, I'll wait and I'll watch. And if they go, I wave and I say thank you, and then I'll proceed. It's little things like that that kind of help the situations out. But at the same time, you know, that lack of empathy is also important. You know, it's putting yourself in somebody else's shoe. If somebody's like, I try to teach this to my kids. If your teacher's being a dick, you said first day of school and your teacher's a dick. Well, put yourself in your teacher's shoe. Why do you think are some possible reasons that person is a dick? Now, you've only had one interaction with this person, so you don't have any historical information to base a solid final judgment on a person. You got your gut feelings. You got your, if it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. You know, you've got your, you know, your normal things that you assess a situation with. That's fine. Okay, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about coming home and saying, my teacher's a dick. Okay, well, why is your teacher a dick? Well, he was yelling and he was frustrated and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, why? What could possibly be that? Then they go back to school the next 2 or 3 days and go, oh, you know, that teacher's actually pretty cool. Yeah, he was having a fucking bad day. Let's see, quote, Faith No More song, gotta kill Captain Stupid, or Captain Stupid is gonna kill you. AKA Anifa, useful idiots and friends. Yeah, the the term right there, useful idiots, is very important. You might want to look up useful idiots. That is a very targeted, specific set of words that's been around for a long time with the proliferation of communism. The useful idiots, also known as gullible pawns. So yeah, there's a lot of stupidity and ignorance out there, but you know, when you do what I do, and you spend a lot of time analyzing things and looking at the bigger picture, you realize a lot of those are symptoms of government control, right? So you have a dumbed down society, you're going to see these types of situations more and more. But what's really frustrating is it's not difficult to be polite, to be respectful, to be morally sound in the way you conduct yourself. You know, you want to be able to treat. There's an old adage: treat people the way you want to be treated yourself. It's pretty fucking easy shit here. But even those basic niceties don't exist. You know, we had a party last night, and I saw it time and time again. There are people that just didn't give a fuck. They did what they wanted to fucking do, and didn't really care. Didn't really care that they were at somebody else's house and blah blah blah. You know, and that's frustrating. That's really frustrating. You know, other things that are silly. Somebody sneezes, bless you. You know, or somebody drops something, help them out. Or if they're struggling, help them out. You see an old person getting out of a car and they got a fucking oxygen tank on them and they're like struggling to get up out of the car and they can't get their balance. Walk over, throw your arm there and say, here, let me help you get up. We are the caretaker of each other. You know, especially when it comes to society's most vulnerable, the children and the elderly. You know, it's kind of heartbreaking in some ways. You know, you see a kid walking around the street, a fucking small 3-year-old walking around, and you're like looking around, you don't see parents or anything. You might want to start asking that kid questions. Where are you going? Where's your mommy? Where's your daddy? Let's go find them. And I know some people are scared to do that because they're like, oh dude, you know, you go and ask a kid something, you know, what if the kid says, hey, he's touching me, you know, you run that risk. You do run that risk. And there's an expression we have around the house here which kind of plays out all the time. No good deed goes unpunished. So you do have to be somewhat careful. But at the same time, you could sit there and start yelling for somebody and say, hey, there's a fucking kid here. Whose kid is this? You know, there's a kid here. You know, you don't have to touch the kid. You could just yell over to the kid, hey, where's your home? What are you doing? Why are you walking around? You shouldn't be out here, kid. You know, if they're little and they can't respond, they're little teeny tiny, fuck it. If there's cars, like, you know, my area, there's all this construction shit going on, and these kids keep running around in these little houses that are being built up. And I'm always like, oh my fucking God. You know, some of this shit too goes back to what Brooke said. Some people shouldn't breed because, look, and I saw this the other day and it drove me nuts. This lady, we were at Target and she was doing her prescription. And I'm watching this kid climb from the cart to the top basket. And the cart's doing this. And it's mommy, 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 mommy. Right? You can hear the kid's head is here. Holy shit. I went and stood next to the cart because I knew that cart was going to roll my way. And I stood there and I waited because I was going to be next in line. So I just kind of stood there. Sure enough, that cart rolled back. And my fucking foot was sitting right there to stop it. And the lady grabs her kid. And I'm like, she looked at me. She goes, oh, I'm sorry. She felt sorry because the cart bumped me. She didn't realize I stood there to let the cart bump me because I knew that kid was going to fucking spill it. But, you know, she wasn't acknowledging her kid. Her kid was fucking climbing up, and oh my God. So I, as a dad, I was like, Jesus Christ. I just was picturing this kid. Anyway, yeah, I agree with you. You know, it's better to be polite and nice and have a mistake rather than let someone go unhelped. Yeah, I try to help whenever I can, and it really frustrates me when I see people just in their own world, oblivious to those around them. It just drives me nuts. Anyway, I wanted to touch on that a little bit because I was reading that and I was just shaking my head going, I can't believe these guys fucking threw their lives away over a fucking mattress. It's really dumb. It's really dumb. So some conspiracy stuff that I plan on touching as we get going here over the next few weeks and stuff is we're going to be talking about Antarctica. We're going to be talking about aliens. We're going to be talking about Denver Airport. We're going to be talking about the Illuminati. We're going to be talking about the China Illuminati. We're going to be talking about the Chinese petrodollar destabilizing the American petrodollar. So I guess we're talking about the petro yuan versus the petrodollar, if we're going to be specific. We're going to be talking about super volcanoes. We're going to be talking about a lot of different shit. So what will end up happening is as we get going, I will be creating graphics with certain terms and things like that, so you guys can sit there and screenshot or jot notes or whatever, and those will be like Google terms that you can go and do some of your own digging. Yep, harp is very interesting right now, Viking, in that there's multiple harps. But there is a very, very active HARP type activity coming from Antarctica that seems to be fueling certain storms and really mitigating other storms. So that's going to be something we're going to look into as well, because that's some interesting shit right there. The HARP that we used to have running out of Alaska was decommissioned purportedly and shut down, and we don't see a lot of activity coming from that particular HARP. But there are multiple HARPs. China's got a HARP, Russia's got a HARP. There's a lot. There's a bunch of them out there. And I think HARP is also going to be playing into some of the things we'll probably get into, like yeah, Viking. No way, not the government. Are you fucking shitting me? Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, you know, Backwoods, I'm sure Ben was talking about the closing of telescopes. He thought it was very suspicious. I agree. It's not just that it's suspicious. There were other smaller sites that shut down. And when you have multiples like that, you got to ask the questions, well, why? You know, the big ones that we all use, Suspicious Observer, BP Earthwatch, and a bunch of others that have been historically watching the sun and doing a lot of really good reporting on, they were quick to kind of defuse the whole situation and say, look, it's these things, these systems are all still up and online. Granted, it's suspicious, these little ones, but we're still getting most of our same reports that we're used to getting from the big ones. Now, if there was something that was on the sun or around the sun that was problematic, then they were like, yeah, well, the big ones would have showed it too, unless they were all in cahoots and the big ones were, you know, covering it up, which is also possible. But they also point out most people can go get cameras with certain filters and you can observe the sun yourself. So, oh my God, 5G is something hugely of concern for me. Holy shit. Me and a wife are like so bugged out over 5G, it's not even fucking funny. Yeah, you're not lying right there. The 5G is something that is terrifying. It's terrifying, the potential rollout of what could be happening with that. So yeah, I'd be a little concerned about that too, especially in California. That's definitely one of the staging grounds for testing, you know, ground zero. Backwoods deep state. Yeah, deep state is kind of in a desperate state right now. We'll be talking about deep state. We'll be talking about QAnon. Oh, whoa, wow. There's just so much stuff to cover and go through, but I want to put them. Yes, the microwave spectrum is definitely what we're talking about. Bigfoot is a fun one, but that's probably not going to be tackled. What is that? The I forgot the word for those things. Crypto something. The different types of animals and stuff. My personal feeling on Bigfoot is I don't think it's a big dumb animal. I think it's actually an intelligent entity, another dimensional being that just kind of comes through into our dimension for grabbing certain types of food and things of that nature. It's like, kind of like a Chewbacca, right? Chewbacca doesn't talk. He just does his growls and all that shit. That's what a Bigfoot is. It's another sentient being. It's probably one of another alien races. Cryptids might be right. Yeah, I think you're right. Let's see. Our physics department let people book time on their 2 scopes. Yeah. See, you can actually get in and see scopes and stuff like that have unobstructed view. They have some other stuff, but oh yeah, and the Skinwalker. That's the other thing we're gonna talk about. Yep, the new Skinwalker movie is out. And I actually have it open right here. I've been watching bits and pieces of it. It's called Hunt for the Skinwalker. It just came out. It's a 2 hour and 6 minute, excellent documentary with a whole bunch of new footage and new interviews and stuff. Very well done. Really enjoy it. Really enjoy it. The other thing too, when we talk about some of these things in mythology and some folklore, like the werewolves and the dogmen and stuff like that, a lot of things that's kind of interesting is, we talk about aliens, we talk about little green men and stuff like that, but you don't hear a lot of people talking about dimensional beings. And dimensional beings, I think, are really going to be more likely. I think time will show that these types of beings and the stories that came from folklore, all right, Backwoods, later, man, really come from extra dimensional beings. Are there things flying around on ships? Sure, why not? Are there things that are here that are not here? Like paranormal entities and stuff like that? Sure. But I think there's an overlap. I think there is a overlap between what one group calls demons, another group calls aliens, and then another group here calls extra dimensional beings. There's probably some kind of an overlap there where when we look dead center in the middle, that's what they're all describing, but we're just calling it different names. But at the end of the day, we'll find out. These motherfuckers have their own set of agendas. Human beings are pets, zoo animals, whatever, it's kind of interesting. So we're going to go through a lot of that stuff. We're going to talk about some of the creation theories in regards to, okay, are human beings genetic manipulations? Are human beings salvaged species? We might have had our planet all the way totally, populated, huge technology, and then we blew ourselves to kingdom come, and aliens saved some of us and genetically modified us slightly, put us in some kind of stasis or whatever, and then after that they basically what's up, son?
Authentication code.
What?
For Trove, there's an authentication code.
Oh my fucking hell, are you seriously interrupting my stream for this?
Sorta.
Yeah, Anunnaki. Yeah, hang on a second, guys. My son needs a fucking code because he can't wait or text me or something else. He actually has to walk in here.
Didn't know you were streaming.
And interrupt. There it is. Alright, so... Alright, you got your phone or something? Because I'm not going to say this shit out loud.
Yeah.
On the fucking stream here. You're going to give me your phone or something? I'll take a picture of it?
I'm just typing it in.
Okay, you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Let me know when you got it.
Of course.
Huh? Don't say it out loud, motherfucker.
No, I just said a few things.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
kid! I'm like, I was gonna really say it out loud. I'm like, what the fuck? Holy shit! Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes my fucking kid, they crack me up. You know, I love them, but fucking holy hell, right? Anyway, apologies. Totally lost what the fuck I was talking. Oh, look, yeah. Let me look at my thing here. Flat Earth, yeah, flat Earth. I think flat Earth is a distractionary thing. I think the Earth. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I think the Earth is actually fucking massive. I think the Earth is huge, monstrous, big fucking giant deal there. Yeah, Anunnaki. You know, that's something that people have been talking about. Nut job. The whole walking sideways to our dimension thing has always made me wonder about multidimensional creatures. Oh yeah, totally. Flat Earth. I think the Earth is really big. Let's see. Heck, even we are extra-dimensional beings with ability, even though they try to express that idea. Well, you know what's interesting is the concept of astral projection, things of that nature. Sometimes people, when they sleep, they spirit walk. There's a lot of crazy stuff that human beings are capable of doing, but I believe have been systematically reprogrammed to not be natural beings. Hey, what's up, Corley? I think, hang on here. Let me move this so I can see what's going on here. There we go. Oh yeah, my son is funny. If you look at every natural group of people, and what I refer to as natural people is people that lived off the land, had an intimate connection with the earth, had a symbiotic type relationship where they didn't destroy their environment. They lived in harmony. There was a balance, and they were happy. You will see the industrialized world has crept in and eradicated almost all of that. So any mysticism or any type of system that existed that could have expanded the whole relationship human beings have with the planet has all been but wiped out. So it's going to be something that we'll have to relearn at some point. And what might be the ultimate irony is that these groups of people have been working so hard to reprogram us and control us in such a way to make us easier to control. Well, there could be a catastrophe that pops off, and then because we don't have that connection to the earth anymore, it might doom a lot of us because of our dependency on technology and this artificial world that we live in. And that might even go even more. You can extrapolate that out even further by saying the world that we live in right now is a man-made construct, aka the Matrix, and it's all illusionary. And when you start to get into quantum shit and you start going down at the cellular level of looking at what makes our skin and our bodies, it really fucks with your head. It really fucks with your head. Yeah, you got to be careful with astral projection and stuff like that. You got to stick with whiskey. Well, even whiskey lowers your mental barriers. Because it makes you less inhibited. It allows for things to force their way in a little easier, right? But ultimately, the strength of your will is what determines whether or not something can fuck with you. People that are practitioners of stuff like astral projections, a lot of times they will do some form of a ritual beforehand to kind of set the alarms on themselves, I guess, or lock themselves up so that only they have the key to come back in. I've talked to a few people that are really good at that kind of stuff, and I can't do it. My attention, I can't stay blank. I can't empty myself out to the point where I feel like, okay, I'm always like, okay, what am I feeling? Oh, what happened there? Ooh, Oh, the wind. Wow. Okay. What? Like, I'm like squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. Like I can't just be water. You know what I mean? It's just, and I think, so I know I maybe with years and years and years and years and years and years and years of practicing, maybe I might be able to meditate. But to actually get to a meditative state where I'm breathing and actually astral projecting, I can't see it. I can't envision it. So I don't know. It's really difficult. Like every time I try to meditate, I fall asleep. So it's kind of funny, you know. It's really funny. I'll be like, breathe, breathe. It's bad. Like I literally fall asleep like that. I have high hopes for like my daughter and my wife and those folks because they could do that shit. I can't do that, you know. That you sort of ground yourself beforehand and then let go. It's hard, man. I got really bad hyperactivity, and that hyperactivity fucks with me so bad. Well, I'm glad you're liking this, Corley. I really do, because I try to have real conversations and not blow smoke up anybody's ass. And I'm here to learn too. So a lot of times I like to have these types of conversations because that's where good conversations come in. You know what, Viking? I have read up on sleep paralysis, and a lot of times what that ends up being is sleep apnea, which I suffer from. So I used to have really horrible sleep paralysis, and what it was for me anyway, I've heard and read accounts where people have the sensation where they have a pressure and they can't move and they're lucid and awake and they can sense what's going on around them, but they can't do anything about it. Well, for me, what I learned was the sleep apnea. I was waking up 100 times an hour, and I would like be holding my breath, and as I'm holding my breath, I'd gasp. Well, there's a split moment there where I was coming up and waking up and feeling that sensation of suffocating, and then I gasped, and that's where I felt like I was being released from what was holding me down. And what it turned out was it was just really bad sleep apnea. Let's see. Come in. What?
So, did you still want me to pick the stuff up if it's raining?
I'm right in the middle of stream. Zach's interrupting, and now you're interrupting.
Sorry.
No, you don't have to, Miley.
Okay.
Oh my hell. You see this? So I was happy to get an office because I was like, cool, I'm out of the realm of everybody, but they just bloop, come in, knock on the door. Hey, can I do this? Woosha, take a breath, smile. The world is great. Let's read back here. I've astral projected once a couple of times, and they were terrifying. If you're not ready for it, it could be a very jarring, literally, experience from what I've been told. And it's a very surreal kind of sensory overload. So yeah, I bet it would be terrifying, especially if you hadn't planned on it. You know, if you were just meditating and you were just kind of chilled, and all of a sudden you're like, what the fuck? Meditation, not bad though. Learned that in martial arts. Falling asleep is not a bad thing. Yeah, I've been told that too. You know, a lot of astral projected happen in sleep. That's where a lot of dreams come from. Yep. They call that dream walking. So a lot of times you'll just be walking around and stuff like that. But there are some people, they are very, very, they're very powerful psychics. They're just not aware of it, and they'll dream, and they'll go, dude, you know, I was over at Bill's house, and man, he was like choking his wife. It's like, yeah, you were over there watching what was going on. Let's see. I noticed that if I smoke weed, it diminishes my ability to dream and not just remember them. Well, so marijuana is a depressant, and as such, it does a lot of things. So that stuck feeling that people experience when they get high is a mental state, okay? And so anytime you have something that affects your mental state, whether it's pain meds, anti-anxiety, you know, whatever, you're again kind of moving from one mental state to another. So there are some people I know, they actually smoke weed and they are very, very adept at being in that mind state and doing stuff, okay, with their mind and going there. But they are also conditioned. They had been smoking weed for so fucking long, and they are also doing a lot of the spiritual, mental stuff that they like to do. A lot of the yoga, a lot of the stretching, a lot of the meditations, a lot of the other stuff that they could do that. So again, it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to go jogging. Okay, and we go jogging on a regular basis, but now you put on that air suppression mask that you see these extreme athletes using, and you go try to jog again. Oh no, you're gonna you're gonna have a hard fucking time doing that run. It's the same type of thing. You need a secretariat appointment book. I know, right? These kids, I swear. Let's see. Oddest dream walks I had were the precog ones. Well, okay. We can talk about Deja Vu if you guys want, because I've got solid theories on that for days. You see something the next day that you dreamed about the night before, or you dreamed about 10 years prior. You dreamed about, a few months. I have a theory. Some of my longtime viewers might recall a video set that I did talking about this. But Deja Vu, I think at the end of the day, we're going to find out that it's a brain's way of dealing with stressors, high stressor environments. And the brain, in regards to stress, doesn't care if it's good stress or bad stress. It's just something that exceeds a certain level of stress. And what happens in that future event, because remember now, time is irrelevant. Time is also a man-made construct for us to have a linear timeline. But past, present, and future happens at the same time. We're just, as these sentient collective beings, saying we're going to have a linear timeline. So we want to say 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, because it's easier for the brain to process things as they happen. But in a future event, something really stressful, your boss comes in, he stresses you out, tells you got to stay late, fuck your promotion, this, that, you're fighting with the wife, all the stuff hitting one particular day really bad. Your brain hits a threshold and says, fuck, sends a signal. Okay. Now you could, to abstract this and make it easier for some people who don't like the concept of past, present, and future existing at the same time, we'll just keep it in a linear timeline construct. So in the future event, something happens, stresses out, sends a signal forward really fast, it's faster than light, goes back in time to your subconscious sleeping mind while you're dreaming. That dream is a snapshot and some keyword triggers to tell you, chill the fuck out. So, the day comes, you're having a bad day, Deja Vu kicks in, you're like, whoa, dude, wow, I had this as a dream and blah, blah, blah. Well, that, you'll always note when the Deja Vu happens, you get this really heebie-jeebie kind of feel like, whoa, I had this dream. Okay, that's your brain acknowledging stressor is going to happen, has happened, is happening, and to chill the fuck out and just deal with it. And so, oh yeah, JC, yeah, it's pretty deep into the stream at this point. We're, hang on a second, we're 54 minutes in, so yeah. And then so then you go, okay. So what I've had in my analysis of it, my personal analysis, is it's been good and bad experiences, and depending on the length of the duration of the deja vu is indicative of how bad the situation is or how good the situation is. Because I've seen deja vus for both, and so the longer the duration of the deja vu, the first thing I do is I look back to the previous day. Was there a huge stressor that day? Now remember, we're talking big. We're talking out of the ordinary. If you have regular bad days, it's not going to be it. It's got to be something that's out of the ordinary, something that kind of trips you up. Next time you have a deja vu, look 48 hours. So look 24 behind and 24 forward and see if there's something there. And then you'll see something like that. It'll be kind of interesting. Oh, I'm glad you like that, Renee. Yeah, it's something that I've been hypothesizing for some time, because I don't like the definition of deja vu, which is a hiccup in the brain processing of an event that you're seeing right there to make you feel like you have a sense of familiarity, like you've had this in the past. No. I have distinct dreams where I wake up and go, who the fuck were those other kids? Those kids were fucking weird. I'm like 17 years old. Boom, guess what? Years later, they're my fucking kids having a conversation driving me nuts. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys are the weird fucking kids in my dream. So there it is. Like seeing something before it happens. Yes. Yeah. Well, okay. No. Hold up. So Brooke, let's be clear. Sometimes you can have what's called a precog event where you actually see something that's going to happen. Okay. And now here's another variation of the hypothesis. I tend to really lean on the one where there's the stressors and that causes it. But I have another thing. So imagine you have lots of divergent timelines, alternate universes. Okay, so we have our universe. This is us right here. But now picture this universe as a thread, as a strand, okay, that's just kind of floating along inside of some dark, inky liquid. Okay, it's just flowing. It's just flowing like this. This is a timeline. It's just kind of going. This is a man-made construct of the timeline. Okay, but now these alternate universes, they also kind of sit across and they make a big, giant tapestry. And why do we need this tapestry? Is because every time we make a major decision, okay, so we decide, should I ask her to marry me? Yes or no? Okay, that's a life-changing potential event. That timeline fragments off and creates a divergent timeline. Okay, because one is yes you do, one is no you don't. Okay, so you have divergence, okay, off the timeline, and one you just, you know, it's you never even postulated that question to say, am I going to do this? But when you get to those major decision points, those branches, those create divergent timelines. Well, the funny thing is those timelines exist separate from each other. Now, sometimes the timing goes a little off, and so they can kind of flow and crisscross for the briefest of moments. And sometimes one is far enough ahead, boom, it hits, and you go, whoa, what was that? Okay, and then you actually see it happen. You might have glimpsed in your subconscious mind that divergent timeline. Or what could also be happening is there is a molecule that they observe in the human body that appears and disappears, appears and disappears, appears and disappears, appears and disappears. What's up, Bronx? Appears and disappears. Okay, so that molecule or that atom, I can't remember if it was a molecule or it was an atom, is one of these things. It's like something that disappears and they don't know what it is. I call it the reporter. And what I think it's doing is, I think it's jumping to all of these divergent timelines and it's gathering data. Okay, because some people say, well, you only get to choose one choice your entire life and that's it, you're done. I say bullshit. I think that's a stupid design. If God designed that, that's a stupid design. I think the divergent timeline is much better, and I'll tell you the reason why. If we have just a singular linear life to live and our soul is being judged off the merits of that one run, that's pretty shitty. Okay? Because you could have one key event that alters your timeline so specifically, so negatively, that it's difficult for you to get back on the right path. Okay, now, if you have these divergent timelines, you've got a reporter boop, 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 hitting all of these things. Now imagine how many different divergent timelines you could have based off of events that happen to you your entire life. Think about how many major decisions you make every week. You know, am I going to pay this bill? Am I not going to pay this bill? Am I going to fucking work? Am I going to fucking tell my boss to fucking suck my dick? You know, whatever. Okay, these are things that we all live and go through, and we interact with each other. So, if, we'll get back to that in a second, Brooke. If you got this reporter that's popping, bloop, 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 okay, and then you die. Now you get to ask and see the answers to the questions that have plagued you your entire life. What would have happened if I would have hollered at Mary Rottencrotch? You know, she was hot and we had a rapport going, but I couldn't build the confidence to ask her. Well, now you know, because in one multiverse or one alternate universe, you did. You balls up and you went up and you asked her out and she said, fuck off. And another one you asked her, she said, sure. And then yet another one, she sucked your dick. And another one, you got married with her and you had 5 fucking kids. You know, another one, you got married with her, had 5 fucking kids. 2 of them had cancer. They died horribly. You were rot with fucking pain and guilt and went on a fucking, you know, heroin binge and ended up doing this, blah, blah, blah. You see how those all go. Now, here's where it gets fun. So we all ask ourselves the basic question, am I a good person or a bad person? We all go through this process where we ask ourselves, am I good or am I bad? Well, the reality is there is no good or bad. It's just how we process things. But if you want to take good or bad and say we need to give it some kind of empirical data of a plus or a minus, okay, fine. Now, with this type of a model, you have all these lives. If you have all these lives to draw the information from, now you really know who the fuck you are, because you could say I am a positive, a plus person, because if you take the sum total of 50 million life cycles, okay, and with 50 million life cycles as an example, you have enough data there to say, yeah, even with all the negative, bad shit, I still came out on top. I still did this moral point of view. I'm pretty happy with that, right? And it would be cool because now you could sit and jump back in and re-experience those little bits and pieces you like. You know, your favorite first meal, your first kiss, your first love-making experience, all these different things, you can go back and go, wow, you know? And then if you're really twisted, you might say, well, yeah, I got murdered in this one timeline. Well, I was curious what would happen if my throat got slit. Let's see what that's all about, right? So I think that's a more elegant design. And I think that answers also some of this stuff where some people have these precog abilities where they see something so vividly, and it wasn't necessarily a dream. It's in their mind. They see it right before it happens. They say, oh, man, that was like a precog event. No, what it was is one of these divergent lines crossed and touched for just the briefest of moments, and you glimpsed it. That's what happened. Okay. Now, Brooks asking the question, okay, here's one for you. What is God? Okay. My viewpoint of God is some form of intelligence that created the structure, the total structure of everything that is, and then backed the fuck up off and went and did other shit. I don't blame God for bad days. I don't blame God for good days. If I have something good going on, I thank God. I say thank you for that. You know, I acknowledge the things that, like if every night there's a position that I end up laying in, where in that weird position, most of my pain subsides, and for about 15 to 20 seconds, I'm pain free. And when I'm awake and I'm experiencing that, I say, thanks God for the break, because I have chronic pain. The shit hurts all the time. So when I have that brief moment where I'm not hurting, I'm like, dude, thank you. Now, am I saying thank you to the emptiness? Sure, possibly. You know, I would imagine something that is so powerful, so infinitely able to understand what is, what could be, and everything else, and know everything. So that's the definition of omnipotent, all-powerful, all-knowing, omniscient, knowing everything, right? So if I create these things, this is how I feel God is. I think God is like an author, okay? God knows the broad strokes, knows ultimately what we most likely will do. But because we have freedom of choice, we actually drive the story, okay? And that's the fun part. God gets to sit back and watch and see what happens. Like, he sets shit in motion, or it, if you don't want to have a gender put to it, it puts things in motion, sits back and watches. And that's why God loves us, because we provide infinite entertainment, right? And he's like, yeah, Brooke's going to go here. Brooke's going to do this. But how he does this in between, I have no idea. Like, he could look. He could cheat. He could turn to the last page and read it. But I think he purposely decides, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to wait and see. And that, to me, is what God is. God is the intelligence, the all-powerful intelligence that created everything around us. And if you don't believe in God, you don't believe in that aspect of things, there are scientists that show that the universe has elegant code in it. So when you hear the universe has code in it, that means something wrote the code. For all we know, we could just be artificial intelligence inside of one great big simulator, a big game. We could be the Sims 9000.5. And at the end of the day, does it really matter? I mean, that hurt. You know what I mean? So we just have fun. Look like a tall drop of hello. So you're here for his or its entertainment? No, not necessarily. I don't think. I think God created because it could, and I think God is like a big scientist. Let's see what happens if I introduce this to this. And let's see what happens if I introduce this to this. Let's see what happens if I introduce this to this. And then sits back and wait and watches. I don't believe God intervenes on us on a regular basis. I do believe there are celestial beings that do look after us. Caretakers, guardian angels, spirit guides, higher selves, whatever. I do believe in that. I do believe there is something that does communicate and talk with us on a regular basis and kind of tries to give us good advice. God is deadbeat dad. He dropped his load and kept it moving. I don't necessarily think he's a deadbeat dad. I think I look at it more like this. I'm a game developer. I made a game. I made it an open world game. But I didn't create the game for an external player to play. I built the game so that the avatars and the characters in the game could play the simulation themselves. I think that is how I would describe it. Humans equals Earth, herpes, aliens don't want no part of us. Oh, I don't know. I don't disagree with that. But again, that could be part of the grand simulation, right? If so you gotta understand there's multiple layers to what we're talking about here. So if we're at the macro level, we're at the low level. We are looking at these computer screens and we're talking to each other and stuff, and that is the sum of our existence. This around us, our personal lives are it. We don't take religion and stuff out of it. Okay? And then the next level up is a galactic stuff. So now the aliens and stuff are looking at us, or the extra dimensional beings are looking at us, or whatever. That's the next level. There might be a level above that, and a level above that, and a level above that. And above all of that is that game programmer who made the game with all of the stuff to run itself. Right? But everything you look at, the code was created from a fractal design point of view. Like if you start to look at these fractal designs and golden ratios and mathematical equations and stuff like that, it gets eerily similar. You start to see the patterns in the universe. So if the universe, the galaxies, the multiverse, all of this stuff is part of this grand, massive program, that's crazy. That's so outside of the realm of our understanding and mindscape that, my definition of this, my attempt to explain this is probably so infantile that if God decided, for whatever reason, to zoom in on this particular instance, he'd probably sit back and chuckle. Or it would sit back and chuckle and be like, that's fucking funny. That's cute. That's very cute. That's a very cute way of trying to describe this, you know? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So maybe it wants us to evolve, eventually see us become gods ourselves, a reincarnation trip. Why not? Why not? We're creating his image purportedly, and maybe what we're doing is we're evolving to the point where we can give him a coffee break and allow him to go to the next phase of evolution, while we take that god mantle and we take the mantle up and we continue what he did at this base level. You know, there's a lot of fun stuff that you could postulate and everything else. So it kind of picks up. Oh man, we're good. I'm good. So Buddha is right then. I'm not saying Buddha is right. I'm not saying Buddha is wrong. I'm just giving you my interpretation of what I view personally as what is God. Okay? You know, I don't get Bible-y. I don't do this, that, or anything else. I just look at from the scientific point of view, the elegant code, the fractals, the mathematical equations and stuff. It just looks like something wrote the code of this program running in. Let's see. Mr. Moore, makes sense, or maybe this planet is just reality TV show for the creators. Well, I don't disagree with that one either, Mr. Morris. I've been saying for a while the Earth is a zoo, and we are acting as entertainment. We are definitely entertaining something. Irish checking in, finally getting on the tube. How you been, brother? I'm great, man. I had a weird thing go down with my health as far as like a sickness, and I'm at the tail end of it. I'm feeling a lot better. This is a weird thing. After I wrap my head around it, I'll share with everybody else. My combat rolls, YouTubian. Oh man. But yeah, it's a fun thing. We start to talk about science and God and how they intertwine. I just had a good conversation yesterday with a person I just met that was really fun. It was fun coming across another person who thinks like I think and does the same types of research and things of that nature. So, you know, it's just one of those things where you can't deal in absolutes in any way of speculation. You just have to kind of postulate your point of view, throw your hypothesis out, and then, you know, figure stuff out. Halfway there by creating life with cloning. Well, we were not. You know, as far as creating a clone, there are probably so many different elements to a human being that is absent, or life to a living thing that is absent in the cloning itself. There could be something that's really missing that we, with our human eyes, are not able to discern or see. And that's the risk of doing things like cloning. You know, as far as cloning to get extra material, you know, extra heart, liver, that is a perfect match for me. I all day, every day. Grow me an extra raw, you know, repository for me to get a fucking heart and eyeball from, a fucking, you know, clone them and make them have a bigger dick and slap that shit on me or whatever. It's great, you know. But as far as thinking we're creating an exact clone that is going to be a sentient being with the same exact parts that we have, I think human beings transcend the whole flesh and blood and bone stuff. I think there's things from our energy level, our soul, and everything else that is much greater than the skin that holds the battery. That's the way I feel about it anyway. Iris said, I don't know what it is, man, but every time I do a video, I completely forget about the roll. Then I see your comment. I plan on it and forget. Blame the whiskey. Dude, you better be careful on that fucking roll, dude. You're going to hurt yourself. I was thinking about that the other day. I was telling a buddy of mine, I was like, you know, what I really, like, we were talking about fighting. He goes, you miss fighting? And I go, no, I miss being able to fight. You know, I miss being able to do the shit that I used to do when I was younger and in shape. You know, those are the things that I miss. Let's see, where are we at on time? Sometimes I tend to ramble and go on a big thing. So we're hour 15. I'm not going to do the Robert R. Ricks one. I'm going to carry this one a little bit longer. just because there were a couple other things I wanted to touch on real quick, just because we got real metaphysical and off on a different tangent there, but I like that. I like to do that kind of stuff anyway. That's how I roll with my shit anyway. I did want to touch on a couple of other things that I saw that I wanted to talk about, like James Wood. Twitter locked out James Wood over potentially misleading tweet about midterm elections. There is a lot of distractionary shit going on, and there's a lot of control that the social networks are extending over people now. And that's pretty shitty. Because I looked at the tweet that he put out, and it wasn't like he's trying to do anything. You know, he was just commenting on the ludicrousness shit. It's like pretty scary that there are a distinct possibility this could be real, not likely, but in this day and age of absolute liberal insanity, it is at least possible. So that's what he posted, and there was a picture of a bunch of dudes smiling, saying we're making a woman's vote worth more by staying home. So I thought that was actually pretty fucking funny, because a lot of times I don't even vote. I'm so disenfranchised with the whole voting shit. I'm like, fuck it, it's fucking retarded. What do you mean your comments being blocked? I don't see any anything here as far as for me to acknowledge or not acknowledge it. So maybe it was something that oh, go eat your dinner, man. I'll talk to you later, Renee. Let's see. Jenna Juice a mental block and our muse in the core. Oh, you guys are fucking funny. You guys are fucking funny. Slippery slope covered with diarrhea. Oh, man. All right, man, later. I'll be wrapping this up here pretty quick here. And it's funny that I see a lot of... I think people are looking at this whole... Oh, the conservatives are being blah, 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 and the liberals are getting away. It's like you're not seeing the bigger picture. That's funny, Brooke. They must be blocking you then, because it's not something that me or Price sees. Like if you type the word like fuck as an example, if it's one of you guys that types that, either me or Price has to allow it. Now, if you're typing something that transcends what we have access to, then it's something inside of YouTube itself. You know? Yeah, exactly. Midterms. So the bigger picture here is they're creating a wedge. They're creating a division here where they're trying to get two groups of people at each other's throat. And they're really trying hard to fuel stuff like you wouldn't believe. If you're cursing, it will block you. See, Corley knows how to do it. Oh, shit. Yeah. Cancel fueled by people on the internet. Yep. Yeah, there's... it's pretty crazy, this negativity that's floating around and the way that they're trying to push these agendas and stuff like that. I think it's going to be very interesting over the next probably 2 or 3 months. Personally, I was saying, somebody had asked many months back when I thought the shoe was going to drop in regards to the stock market taking a shit, and I think I said the end of October. I still stand by that, because the markets are all manipulated beyond belief, and I think around that time it'll serve a bunch of agendas. So we'll have to wait and see, but I still think end of October, which is, it's coming up really quick here. It's going to be end of next month. We're going to see some really nastiness pop off. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope everything keeps going la la land and that's that, but I don't think the powers that be are going to allow that. I think there's some gank moves coming up here pretty quick, and it'll be bloody. I think there's going to be some crazy shit with the deep state, with the Trump administration and some other stuff. So we're going to have to see. Oh, that could be it, Brooke. It could be it. I don't know. I don't have anything blocked. I might have to go back and double check again. YouTube might have changed a couple of things, and I got to go back in and uncheck them or whatever. But I'll check it out. In any event, that's going to be it for the show, guys. I wanted to be here yesterday, but I wasn't able to, so I just figured I'd do one today. The market is the people. These companies are just giving us what we want. I hope the market drops. I have my savings ready to buy. That's a smart move. That's a smart move, to wait for the markets to just fucking plummet and then just buy up as much as you fucking can, you know. That sucks. The donkey dong. Got to get ready. Food, water, guns, and ammo. You should always have that anyway. You should always, regardless of what I say or anybody else says, you should always make sure you've got a few months worth of water, above and beyond anything else. Water and then some food. That's it. You know what I mean? Yep. Quarterly has it right there. Just put some dashes in that motherfucker and rock it around. All right. Yeah, that'll be good, Brooke. To see you more often. I miss seeing you on the show and stuff. And again, hey, Steve, if you're watching this, hope you're having a better day, brother. All right. So that's going to be it for now, guys. If you like it, please subscribe. Tell your friends far and wide. Until next time, please be good to yourself, good to each other. Go out, live life to the fullest. Ride the busted wheels, fall off. Go have some fucking adventures. Drink some good shit. You know, smoke them if you got them. All that stuff. Whatever makes life fucking fun and interesting for you. And if it's not fun and interesting, you're doing some shit wrong. You should be trying to do something a little bit different every day. Stretch your boundaries and live the motherfucking life. All right, guys. Fuck. FAQ, fuck you. All right, guys, that's going to be it. Later.